Yo, yo, yo. I'm gonna talk about Konnan. He's Bowdy Bowdy and Rowdy Rowdy. He was born June 6, 1964. Was trained how to be a wrestler by Rey Mysterio's uncle and a couple other Mexican wrestlers. I feel Konnan is one of the most underrated wrestlers. There's many underrated wrestlers. I feel Konnan is one of them, and that's what I'm gonna talk about here today. He's contributed a lot, not only to the Mexican wrestling, but the American wrestling. He started in EMLL in Mexico. He became a face right away. Later on, went into CMLL, and he became World Heavyweight Champion. After that, Antonio Peña wanted to start a new promotion called AAA. He wanted Konnan to help him start the promotion and make it a big promotion. Konnan said yes. Konnan and a couple other wrestlers like La Parca, uh, Octagon, and a couple more other wrestlers together, they built AAA to what it is today. They were the first people that put AAA on the map and carried AAA on their backs. Konnan, at that time when he was in Mexico, people compare him to the Mexican Hulk Hogan. He was like the most popular wrestler in Mexico. He came out in movies, he came out in TV shows like soap operas. He had his own album, his own music album. It was a tape. There weren't CDs back then yet, or they were already coming out, but his album was released on tape. He did a couple concerts. He was the main guy in AAA. He was world champion. He was wrestling guys like Jake the Snake Roberts in AAA and the top guys in Mexico. Konnan did a lot in Mexico. He was one of the top faces of all time in Mexico and will go down as one of the best of all time in Mexico. Konnan was the reason why Rey Mysterio went down to AAA, because Rey Mysterio was training back in California to become a wrestler, but things weren't happening for him, and Rey didn't give up on the dream, but he put it aside for a while. He was focusing on school. He had a girlfriend, and Konnan called him up. He was like, "Hey Rey, you gotta come down here to Mexico. You know, things are popping off here. Everything's going good." And Rey was like, "Nah, man, I have a girlfriend. I have a good life right now. You know, I'll wait till the opportunity presents itself." Konnan was like, "Man, you should come down here. Just try it out, see what happens. You'll probably be a big star." So Rey did go down there, and he did become a big star. So I feel if it wasn't for Konnan, Rey Mysterio would have never gone to AAA, and that wouldn't have led to Rey Mysterio going to ECW with Konnan, and then of course going to WCW. So that's one of the things Konnan has done in this business. But going back to Konnan now, Konnan is an international wrestler. He wrestles all over the world: Puerto Rico, Mexico, United States, Canada, Europe, Australia, Japan. Konnan's been all over the world, been in the top promotions: WCW, ECW, TNA, AAA, CMLL. And for a brief, like almost 6 months in WWE, or back then WWF, as Max Moon. So Konnan is responsible for bringing Rey Mysterio and a couple other Mexican wrestlers from AAA to the United States, like ECW and WCW. So I feel Konnan was the one that started that helped that happen, the whole Lucha Libre style being exposed to the United States on a national basis was because of Konnan and his influence in AAA, because he had a lot of power in AAA. Back then, when he was the top guy in AAA, he could make or break your career. So Konnan in ECW only lasted like about a year, along with Rey Mysterio and a couple other wrestlers like Juventud Guerrero and La Parca. And then we go on to WCW. Konnan was a big draw in WCW. He had the look, the charisma, the style. For the Latin crowd, Konnan was like the top guy in WCW. Konnan was part of the NWO in WCW. And Konnan said in one of his interviews that Hulk Hogan even told them backstage when they were hanging out that his son was dressing like Konnan because he thought Konnan was cool. You know, the way he dressed, the way he talked, his swagger, everything. Konnan was just a really cool guy. You know, he was one of the top draws back in the day at WCW along with the NWO. His merchandise was like selling good because everybody liked his style. Konnan did a lot in WCW. He won championships. He was part of some of the biggest factions in WCW, like the NWO. Started the No Limit Soldiers with Rey Mysterio. Was part of the Filthy Animals with Rey Mysterio, Kidman, Guerrero. You know, Konnan was the top draw in WCW for a while. Konnan accomplished a lot in WCW. And then he went on to TNA. TNA debuted there in 2002. Konnan brought in some other people from AAA again to TNA. Guys like Juventud Guerrera, Abismo Negro, and a couple other Mexican wrestlers. See, Konnan looks out for his friends. As he always tries to bring people in like Rey Mysterio or Juventud or anybody he knows or that know him, that ask him for favors. Tries to help people out. In TNA, Konnan was not a big draw, but he was part of the show as the 3 Live Crew with Ron the Truth Killings and BG James. I think that stable was awesome. It was unique to see a stable like that. Had a good run, but also Konnan was responsible for bringing the LAX to TNA. It was Konnan's idea to make them like heels and do all the heel stuff they did in TNA to get them over. So Konnan is responsible for bringing the LAX to TNA. So that's just another thing that Konnan has done to contribute to professional wrestling. Konnan left TNA in 2007 because of a little settlement issue he had with TNA about his injury. TNA didn't want to pay for his injury. So Konnan sued them and then he got released. So Konnan went back to AAA.